What is going on, guys? I got a very interesting video for you today. So today I want to talk about the removal of some of the rides at Wonderland. For those who don't know, Six Flags Entertainment Company has been removing a lot of rides at some of their parks, a lot of problematic rides that cost a lot to maintain, or maybe they're just old and they don't want to restore them. And parks like Great Adventure are losing 6 rides. So they lost Kingda Ka, the world's tallest roller coaster. They lost Green Lantern, their sky ride, a couple other flat rides, and as well as Zumanjaro. Carowinds is also losing Nighthawk, their drop tower, and I think an Enterprise. Cedar Point lost Snake River Falls, but they actually did announce that these rides are also getting removed, by the way, without being announced. So this is why I wanted to come on here and talk to you about Canada's Wonderland's ride removals, because I think that there should be some ride removals, and I expect some rides to be removed before the 2025 operating season begins. And before I start talking about any of the ride removals at Wonderland, I just want to come on here and say that this is pure speculation. This is my opinions on what rides I think could be removed before the 2025 season. Don't believe anything I say until the park makes an announcement themselves. So yeah, nothing is true what I'm saying. This is just purely my ideas and why I think, because I have heard some stuff about a few rides, but it's all hearsay, so take that as you will. But anyways, let's dive into some of the Wonderland rides and coasters that I think could be removed. So an obvious one would honestly be Drop Tower, because Carowinds is removing their Drop Tower. Zumanjaro, Drop of Doom at Great Adventure, their Drop Tower is being removed. So why wouldn't Wonderland's Drop Tower being removed? So Wonderland Drop Tower is actually getting a refurb for the 2025 season. So for me, that is off the table. It's not getting touched. Hopefully it'll be a little more reliable, because some of the gondolas tend to not work, and it's due to the cable swinging against the tower. So they close some of the gondolas depending on which way the wind's blowing. Another ride I have heard a little bit about is Riptide. But besides the markings that have been found around Dragonfire and Riptide, I actually am hearing that Riptide is going to be staying, at least for the time being. Apparently it's getting a new gearbox this off-season as well. That's a little just something I heard. Haven't seen any signs of that yet, so I don't have any proof for you, but there are some markings around those two rides, including Dragonfire. So Dragonfire is another one. This is an interesting one, because we do have Vortex's trains from Kings Island that have been used for spare parts for Dragonfire. Dragonfire, it almost started to look like it was going to get a repaint at the beginning of the 2023 season. They painted the first turn out of the station, and that's all they really did. They didn't paint the lift hill. The trains are still the same, but the trains didn't really need to be painted anyways. But they didn't paint the rest of the ride. They painted the yellow rails around the turn out of the station, and that's about it. So I don't know if that has to do with anything, but yeah, we do have those trains from Kings Island. They are used for spare parts, and Dragonfire did seem like it got kind of a little bit of an upgrade. The ride seems to be running a lot better. Feels like it almost runs a little bit smoother. Some of the brakes in the station are a lot smoother as well. So I think, personally, I don't see it. I know this is a big one right now in the Wonderland community, but personally for me, if you ask me if there's going to be a coaster to go, it's going to be Time Warp. So I want to talk about Time Warp right now. Time Warp, as you can see here, it still has its trains on the track. It has not been touched. Usually they take those trains off ASAP. Usually they're off by the beginning of Winterfest, so the end of the regular season. But no, they're still on the track. So I thought that was super interesting. But if you've ridden Time Warp within the last few years or so, like last 2 or 3 years, you'd notice how the ride's been running mechanically. So the ride has always had quite a few problems, because there's a lot of moving parts. The gondolas sometimes don't like to go into the fly position. The spiral lift hill, the eye, sometimes faults and it stops moving, so the trains will get stuck on the lift hill, and then they'll stack on the brake runs and stuff. But these are all things that are completely safe. The ride is not dangerous whatsoever. But yeah, so yeah, it struggles mechanically. It also struggles with capacity. It's a really low capacity ride. Not a lot of people like it at Wonderland, but the only reason why you see it have a line on busy days is because of its low capacity. I think it could do maybe 300 to 400 riders an hour, which is not a lot at all, especially for a park like Canada's Wonderland. Yeah, Time Warp, if it was a higher capacity ride, I don't think this ride would have a line at all. Yet capacity is a very big reason why I think this could be removed. They're also running less gondolas on it, so that's also a reduced capacity thing. So it has 6 gondolas for those who don't know, and in the past few years they've been running 4 or 5, and then it started off the year with 5, and then they took off 1 and started to only run 4. So I don't know if they've been using the spare parts on the other gondolas for the ones that are on the track or whatnot, but because maybe they don't want to order new spare parts because they just want to let the ride run to the end of its service life. And if you think about it, Time Warp's actually been operating for 21 years, which is actually a pretty decent run. Like most B&Ms, they say they have a shelf life of about 30 years. So unless the park chooses to retrack it, or sometimes they just terms in maintenance and stuff. They have a shelf life of 30 years, but they can go past it. So for Time Warp doing 21 years, that's pretty solid for a ride like this. And I'm sure if Wonderland really wanted to, they could extend the life of Time Warp, but in my opinion, I don't think they're going to. And I've been hearing since 2022, late 2022, that this coaster's been on the chopping block, and even in 2023 I heard it again. I don't think they've gotten around to taking it out, and I think now that Six Flags Entertainment Company has just been axing a bunch of problematic low capacity rides, I think this is one that could go. And I think my buddy Tyler Burke, PMF Coasters, was on the last ever ride of the year of 2024 for Time Warp, and I think he's going to be the last ever rider. He was the only one on the whole train. I mean, it's only 4 seats, so he might be the last ever rider of this coaster, which I think is pretty crazy. But yeah, personally, if you ask me, I don't think Time Warp is going to open for the 2025 season. Again, this is not confirmed, but yeah, this is definitely one of the coasters slash flat rides that I could see not opening in 2025. If they're going to remove a coaster, it's Time Warp, and I don't think they would remove 2 coasters. I don't think they would axe Dragonfire as well. I think they would keep that one around. Like I said, for my reasons, they do have spare parts for that coaster. If they're going to remove another flat ride or water ride, I would say Timberwolf Falls is also on the chopping block from what I'm hearing, so I think that one could easily go. I mean, yes, somebody can make the argument that they did redo the concrete, but that's just to prolong it for one more year. Now that, I mean, Six Flags, guys, I'm telling you right now, Six Flags does not give a you-know-what about nostalgia, records, anything. If a ride's problematic and, or not as popular or low capacity, it's getting removed. Doesn't matter if it got repainted the year before, it's gone. I'm just saying right now. So I have heard that Timberwolf Falls has been on the chopping block since last year, so I do think that if they are going to be removing rides, I think this would be one of them as well. I think, in my opinion, we would remove 2 to 3 rides, so it would be Time Warp. Timberwolf Falls would be number 2, and for number 3, I did think Riptide, but now, guys, I hate to say it, I'm really getting worried for Sledgehammer, because Sledgehammer, yes, it's one of a kind, but Six Flags does not care about that. Wonderland is the only one that cares about that Sledgehammer is a Wonderland, one of a kind ride in the world. Six Flags Entertainment Company will not care. They will take it out, they will rip it out, it'll sit vacant for God knows how long until they replace it. Hopefully it wouldn't sit vacant for that long, because it is a pretty open space there without it. There's not a lot of trees in Action Zone. But yeah, I'm kind of worried for Sledgehammer. The maintenance puts a lot of money and a lot of work into it. It's a really costly attraction to operate. It faults a lot. Winterfest didn't have a great Winterfest season. This past summer was a really good season for it. The park has definitely found a lot of ways to keep it operational by disabling gondolas. Sometimes you'll see that Sledgehammer runs with 1 gondola or 2, sometimes 2 gondolas, or even 3 gondolas sometimes don't work. And if these gondolas aren't disabled and the ride panel, the ride would throw a bunch of faults, and it would continue to be faults and go down for long periods of time. It'd be able to operate for a few cycles, and then it would go down because it would say that one of the gondolas is throwing whatever fault. So that's just basically how the ride operates. So that's why you might see some of the more problematic gondolas down some of the times. But yeah, I'm worried for Sledgehammer quite a bit. I do think it would really be a big shame if we lost it, because it's my favorite flat ride in the park. I know it's a lot of people's favorite flat ride in the park. I wouldn't be surprised if it was removed. I know Wonderland would fight really hard to keep it. I know for sure. I know there's quite a few Wonderland employees and that really like the ride, and they obviously, yes, because they put so much effort into this ride. It's been reprogrammed. I think it was 2013 or something. It was reprogrammed. It's had a long life. It's had a good life. It's, I think, going to be 22. Yeah, so it's run its course. and if they can keep it open for even a few more years, I'd be really happy. But I think if there's one ride that deserves a proper send-off, it would be Sledgehammer. I don't think Time Warp is whatever. I don't think really people care about it, except for Tyler Burke, PMF coasters. Sorry, buddy. I think your ride is kind of garbage. I think it can go. But if there's a ride that deserves a proper send-off, Sledgehammer is really well loved in the park. And just unfortunately, I could see it being like King Dakar and maybe not getting a proper send-off, which is very, very unfortunate. If there's one more flat ride that I could see going, it definitely would be Speed City Raceway, the go-karts over by Leviathan. I definitely think those are going to go sometime soon as well. They could use that for an RMC expansion of Wild Beast. I made a concept about that, so definitely go check that out. It's almost like a Wildcat's Revenge kind of ride. They could totally expand the coaster into that area. Maybe it won't be a hyper coaster like I made in my video, but maybe around 140 to 150 feet tall, and use that plot for an extended layout. I could totally see that. If they take out Speed City Raceway, it wouldn't be that much of an eyesore because it's kind of just tucked away in the back corner, so you wouldn't really notice that it's gone unless you're riding Wild Beast or Drop Tower or Leviathan. Well, from the midway, you can't really see it, so it wouldn't be as big of an open eyesore. They could also, if they did that, then maybe they could remove Dragonfire down the road, which still I don't think Dragonfire is going to be removed. But let's say it is, then you have that huge plot to be used for a coaster. But personally, if you ask me, I think RMC is an option. I know there's been some rumors that RMC can't work in Canada. That is false. The RMC has put Topper Track on Le Monstre at La Ronde, and yeah, so they have worked in Canada. There are definitely ways around it if Wonderland really wants it. And now Six Flags Entertainment Company, I mean, hopefully they work with RMC now that it's Six Flags too. If Wonderland really wanted it, they could get it. And now that Wonderland's Six Flags park, I think we'll start to get more high thrill aggressive coasters, because we have high thrill coasters like Behemoth, Leviathan, Yukon. Yes, Yukon Pulse Force, Behemoth, and Leviathan have crazy airtime, but they're not like high intensity coasters like Alpen Fury. Alpen Fury is a prime example of that, and I think that we're just going to continue to keep getting those high intensity thrill rides that maybe some of the general public at Wonderland, because I know there's a lot of them that want something a little more than Leviathan and Behemoth. So I definitely think Speed City Raceway, removing that, would make a perfect opportunity for an RMC expansion of Wild Beast. So yeah, there's quite a few potential rides that I could see be getting removed. Personally, the ones that I think could be removed are Speed City Raceway, Time Warp, and Timberwolf Falls. Those are the three that personally, if you ask me, if they're going to remove 3 rides, it would be those 3. If they're going to remove 2 rides, Time Warp, and I would say Timberwolf Falls. And if they're going to remove 1 ride, I think it would be Time Warp. I think that's the next to go. We're adding a coaster in 2025, so they can remove a coaster in 2025. It's the same thing with when Orion was built, they removed Vortex at Kings Island. It's a similar thing, different timing because they didn't get Time Warp didn't get an announcement, but it's a similar case if you know what I mean. Wildcard option would be Sledgehammer. Unfortunately, I would hate for that ride to be removed. It pains me to say it. I'm just, if you don't ride Sledgehammer often and it's open next year, go ride it. Just go ride it, because you never know when its last year could be. It could be next year, and I don't think they're going to do proper send-offs. I don't think that's a thing anymore for the company. Hopefully Wonderland can do it themselves and get proper notice when their rides are going to be removed. But yeah, just go ride Sledgehammer, go ride some of these rides. If you really like one of these rides, I highly recommend, if it's 2025 and they're still operating, go ride it. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Those are just my opinions on what rides could be removed for the 2025 season. Again, maybe no rides are going to be removed for the 2025 season. Who knows? But let me know what you guys think of these ride removal predictions. And what rides do you think don't have a chance at Wonderland anymore? Which ride do you think are going to get the little kick out of the door? Let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, stay tuned for more videos to come. Alpen Fury's vertical now. Woo! I gotta make a video about that. I gotta go film. I have not had the chance. I am in my first week of school. It has been honestly hell. But I gotta go record that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for an Alpen Fury update hopefully coming this week. And yeah, take it easy guys. Have a great weekend.